Hi folks, I am Alan Watt and this is Cutting Through the Matrix on December the 25th, 2009. And I hope you've all had, as they've said for centuries in the past, a Merry Christmas. It's taboo to say so apparently today because it's politically incorrect. Well, political correctness is for those who've already succumbed to the war on their minds, and yet they can snap out of it if they wish to and just say a Merry Christmas. It's that easy. When you think back on it, we've gone through so much of a war on us. In fact, it's been on our whole lives long. Your parents went through it, your grandparents went through it, most never even knew it was happening. They were given external wars somewhere over there, and they never knew the war was really being waged back at home, covertly, through stealth, and through techniques using science, propaganda, and mass media communication. Eventually it filtered into the school system, and I've gone on before in other programs that I've given over the years about how the media takes over and, of course, entertainment. It's very important. Those who control entertainment actually control the direction of thinking of whole generations. That makes it more palatable when your teachers in school or professors in university bring up the same topics that first were introduced in the media, or in fiction, I should say, to you. And you listen to them thinking, we're all hip, as they used to say. We're now cool, apparently. And even though we're in global warming, we're all cool. And we accept every new attitude in every direction that's given to us to play out in our lives. It's up to you if you want to go along with it or not, because it doesn't matter if the crowd goes one way, you know they're wrong. The crowd is always wrong, because the bulk of the populace goes along with political correctness. They wouldn't care if it's a king or a tyrant or a Caesar or whatever running them, as long as they all went along together and suffered equally. That's what equality is in socialism. You all suffer equally, down below, that is. Down below the ivory castle, there's always an ivory castle where the big boys look down their long noses at you and play with you as you play with dolls in a dollhouse. How to stand, how to walk, how to speak even, what your topics should be, how you should deport yourself in any given situation, and they give you the given situations. And since they're all perverted at the top, they give us a perverted society and we emulate them. We emulate them. It's that simple. Very, very simple. That's why the battle's been for individualism all down through the centuries. We keep forgetting that individuals changed the world in previous times. That's what Christianity and Christmas was supposed to be all about. Not the mass. The mass will always adopt the in religion of the time, be it New Age, Hinduism, whatever is given to them and promoted by the top guys. The individual has always been what the war is about. If you can destroy individuality, and people with the ability to reason and have perceptions of their own and voice them, then you change the whole world. The whole world will be changed once again. It doesn't matter if an individual stands up and says something so true, like the king has no clothes, and then the rest of the crowd parrots the same thing. The crowd will parrot whatever they're given to parrot. The problems we have today is because the scientific elites have given us a society where the masses are supposed to simply parrot and adapt into a pre-planned doll's house of the future. That's not living, that's Zombieland. Zombieland. What the human individual is capable of attaining is so far out, way out into the universe, that it's the biggest threat they've ever had in the positions of tyrant. That's why you've got to be group consensus, group opinion, group speak with new speak, and linguistic minimalism to boot through your music. Sex is all that's promoted through music today. That's all. Base, because you must separate the sexual act from loving someone. The big writers of the 1800s that were promoted through communism wrote screeds about that very thing, how to disassociate the loving part, the bonding part, from the sexual act. And they've been very successful in their war because, as I say, when you get a bunch of teenagers for the first generation say, go to it, there's no fallout from this. Here's a pill, here's contraception with abortion clinics. Do what you want. You have no responsibility at all in whatever happens to you. We'll take care of it for you. Then you stop the bonding process. Julian Huxley said the same thing. He said, if we can create a generation that has plenty of sex with no consequences, then we've broken the bonding process, which is our main enemy. The family unit is the main enemy of those who are in control today. And those who are in control are not just far lefties with little duffel bags and their sneakers. No. That's just the parts of the army that you see there. You have those who control the entire monetary system of the planet with their own particular, very secret religion. Very ancient religion too. Who truly believe they're here to dominate the world, and it's their right to do so. Interesting that Rockefeller, when he was giving a talk to some reporters who attended the CFR meetings, he says, we could never have done this without your compliance and secrecy to the media. Meaning they kept their mouths shut about what was happening. And he said it's far preferable to have a world ruled by bankers, he said, and intellectuals, rather than to let the nations run their natural course. That's something most folk can't wrap their heads around. They think that communism is some workers' movement. That was the biggest red herring ever put out there. It's been so swallowed so well by everyone on the planet, except those that put it out, of course. Domination is the name of the game, and individuality is their main enemy. The United Nations has said so too. The individual is their main problem. Why do you think they're talking about brain chipping people? And yes, they'll sell it to lots of people. Oh, how it's going to help you. You don't have to go to school eventually. You just get downloaded. And they give you pleasure centers in the brain for hypersex and all this stuff. You'll be a programmed zombie. And people will rush into that. You must let them rush into it because they're goners. They've decided to be goners. Having the gift of life is too heavy a burden for them to bear. And that's their tough luck. But for you, you must think for yourself, reason for yourself, and become individualistic. As I say, this time of year is about Christianity. The whole idea was about an individual that changed the world. Of course, soon to be corrupted, because whenever truth comes into the world, those that follow afterwards always corrupt for power over others. And they too have their day, till the next perversion is done on the next one who stands up. It doesn't mean you must forget or adapt to the new system. All is not hopeless. That's the point of some of the greatest religions on the planet, that all is not hopeless or lost. The government does not rush to your aid when you're having a spiritual crisis or a personal crisis. You have to go to other areas to find answers to that. Yes, the government will supply you with their version. Here's the psychiatry and its pills, psychology and its pills, and its mantras and all the rest of it. That is not the way that you attain intelligence or experience or belief. It's like postponing everything. You know, psychiatry, for instance, as I say, is about replacing religion. That's why they brought it out. That's why Freud was sent out on the mission to, again, augment Darwinism and say, well, you're nothing but an animal. And the whole point is to be happy, regardless of what's happening. Be happy. Take these pills. And once you're having sex out there again and you're purchasing things and you're working, then they'll classify you as healthy. That's what they call healthy in psychiatry. That's their whole point. And yet, their point is to get you back into the system that broke you down in the first place by artificial means, and back into the artificial system. And they're drugging so many people today. So many people. Drugging people doesn't mature you. You cannot mature. You must go through painful processes to mature, to become a full, complete human being. You must suffer, because through suffering, you not only learn things, you also realize your connectedness to other people around you. That's why you don't judge the same way. You've been there, or you could be there in the future. It doesn't mean you turn your back and don't judge evil. You must speak out against evil wherever you see it. That's a preservation instinct. Don't ever forget that. Anyway, here we are, as I say, on Christmas 2009. We know the agenda. We know what the steps will be coming from the big boys at the top that run the world, through mainly their finances, to be honest with you. Control the finances of the world, you control the world. Everyone's trained to use their finances. In fact, there's no other option. Doesn't mean they'll win eventually. And it's up to you to decide if you win personally, because that's what it's about. It's not the collective, it's about the personal. I dragged out the guitar from its coffin, as usual, today. Wrote this song down quickly, played it through for the first time. No corrections or alterations. So excuse me if it's not to your taste. And the fingers are a bit stiff. But it's the best I can do at the moment. And that's what y'all are about, really, is the best you can do at the moment. Give it your best. Enjoy this piece. And if we're all alive next year, I'll give you another one then too. Merry Christmas. All the best from Alan Hamish in Ontario, Canada.
Mm-hmm.